don't even know what to say, guys. I mean, I think many people thought that Georgia was going to win this national championship over TCU, but I don't think anyone saw this coming. I don't think anyone saw a 65-7 beatdown over TCU in the national championship coming on Monday. A beatdown of epic proportions that left no doubt who the best team in the country is and who the best team in the country was. The Georgia Bulldogs are the national champions again, becoming the first team to win back-to-back national championships since Alabama did it back in 2011 and in 2012. This was a historic night, guys. Anytime someone wins a national championship, it's a historic night. It's a pretty big deal. But the way Georgia won this game was truly unbelievable and I think truly unexpected. 65 points in a national championship game, the most points ever by any team in a national title game. The 58-point margin of victory, the 58-point victory, the largest ever in a national championship game. We've seen some blowouts. We've seen Clemson destroy Alabama. We've seen Alabama destroy Ohio State and Notre Dame back in 2012. USC, Oklahoma. We've seen some bad upsets in national title games. This one was the biggest of all time. One that probably will never be topped. 58 points. Georgia outgained TCU 589 yards to 188 yards. TCU, an offense that had been so explosive all year long that it had a Heisman Trophy finalist at quarterback in Max Duggan, had an electric run game to go along with it. We're averaging over 200 on the ground and well over 200 through the air, held to under 200 combined on the day. Georgia more than tripled the amount of yards that TCU had. The Bulldogs forced 3 turnovers off the Horned Frogs. They held the Horned Frogs to 36 rushing yards. They had 5 sacks on TCU and had 9 tackles for a loss. This was an unreal performance from top to bottom, offensively and defensively. And I know a lot of people were out there that say, Georgia's going to win this game. Maybe they win it by 2 touchdowns. Maybe they cover the spread. Maybe they win by 17. No one thought they were going to go out there and win by 58. So what went wrong? What happened in this game? Again, guys, welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. We're so glad that you could join us today for our national championship recap. The college football season coming to a close. Content here won't stop. Non-stop football content year-round despite the season ending. But the last official video of 2022, the 2022 season, as the season has officially come to a close. We're glad you could join us to recap this historic championship game where we're trying to figure out what went wrong for TCU in this one. And what we really saw was just absolutely just bully ball. We saw Georgia dominate the line of scrimmage in this game. We talk about it all the time. How can you, these games that are typically won in the trenches, you win a game by dominating up front, not just on the offensive line, but the defensive line as well. And we saw that from Georgia. TCU had no push whatsoever, could not get the ground game going. Yes, Kendre Miller did not play, but that was not the reason they lost. That was not that big of a difference maker. TCU was just not going to have much success running the ball against Georgia. Not with one of their running backs and not with Max Duggan, who had nowhere to run. Max Duggan actually, if you count sack yardage, had like negative 36 rushing yards on the day, if you count the sacks. Unbelievable. Georgia dominated the line of scrimmage. They dominated the time of possession. Some of their drives, even before the game got way out of hand, slow, methodical, slowly just marching down the field, wearing down this TCU defense that against Michigan in the college football playoff semifinal relied on big plays. 2 pick sixes. The fumble recovery at the goal line that probably should have been a touchdown for Michigan. Had the Wolverines scored that, they would have won the game in the long run. TCU deserved to be in this spot, right? What a heck of a run for Sonny Dykes. And I want to give credit to that before we keep going with this. Credit to TCU, right? An amazing season. 13-2. Max Duggan finishing as a Heisman Trophy finalist. 6 one-possession victories. The Hypnotoad taking over the college football world. Social media and everything else like that. It was an unreal journey, and they did it all in year 1 under Sonny Dykes. So the future is certainly looking very, very bright for TCU. In year 1 under Sonny Dykes, he took a team that was projected to finish 7th in the Big 12 and took them all the way to the national championship game with narrow win after narrow win after narrow win, including an upset over Michigan in the playoff semifinal. It's pretty impressive. But I think we can all agree that Michigan or Alabama or Ohio State, probably some other teams outside of some of the elite teams in the country, probably would have given Georgia a better game on Monday night than TCU gave the Bulldogs. more than likely. And that's not taking anything away from TCU. I want to give them credit for what's been a phenomenal year for them. But there were probably a lot of other teams in the country that could have put up a better fight than TCU gave on Monday. Horned Frogs, early on, just didn't stand a chance. And it looked like maybe we were going to have a bit of a game, right? It looked like maybe we were going to have a semi-close game early in the first quarter. 4:45 left in the first quarter. TCU down 10-0. Got a rushing touchdown from Max Duggan, their only score of the game. It was 10-7, like that. And we said, okay. The game could have gotten out of hand because Georgia scored fast. Opening drive, scored fast. And then TCU got the ball back and they fumbled. And I was like, oh my God, really quick, Georgia's going to be at 14-0. But the defense held strong. 10-0 Georgia, within striking distance. TCU, next drive, long drive, methodical, put points on the board, said, okay, settle down. The jitters are gone, we might have a game here. And then TCU never scored again. Never scored again. And once Stetson Bennett had his second rushing touchdown of the day with a little over 8 minutes left in the second quarter to make it 24-7 Georgia, I think we all knew deep down it was over. Because you're not coming back down 17 points against Georgia, especially not this Georgia team. The Bulldogs led 38-7 at halftime. You know, I started doing some other things. I kept the game on. Don't get me wrong. I kept the game on. I watched it. But I was busy doing some other things right before halftime and pretty much all throughout the second half. You knew it was over. It was a game that, unless you were a Georgia fan, really wasn't worth watching. Because Georgia just dominated from start to finish. Stetson Bennett finished his Georgia career. 304 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns on top of that. So 6 total touchdowns on the day for Stetson Bennett. Brock Bowers, one of the best tight ends in the country. 7 receptions for 152 yards and a touchdown. He nearly outgained TCU by himself. TCU 188 yards on the day. Brock Bowers 152 reception yards. Talk about impressive. Javon Bullard, 2 interceptions. Georgia forced 3 turnovers, 2 of those coming from Bullard. A pretty impressive performance from him. The Bulldogs cap off the second ever 15-0 season. The LSU Tigers did a few years ago with one of the best teams of all time. Now Georgia has done it at 15-0. It's unreal, guys. It's unreal. It's a very hard thing to do to repeat as national champions. Hard to do it to go undefeated. But the Bulldogs have done it. The Bulldogs are back on top of the college football world. They were on it last year with their win over Alabama. They kind of broke the curse, first national championship in 1980, finally got over the hump against Alabama. And now we're starting to talk about Georgia becoming the new Alabama. Now, is the Bama dynasty over? Far from it. No, it's not. Nick Saban's still there. The Crimson Tide guys are still alive. But a new dynasty is forming in Athens. A new dynasty is forming in Athens. Georgia's been one of the top teams in the country for years and years and years, but you couldn't start calling them a dynasty, an elite of the elite, until they got that national championship. They got it last year. Now they've got another one. 2 titles already under Kirby Smart in 3 appearances, right? 2 national titles, 3 appearances, back-to-back. A dynasty has begun in Athens. And it's an exciting time if you're a Georgia fan. It's an exciting time for college football. It's a very exciting time. So this national championship, guys, was not exactly what we wanted to see. It wasn't exactly the great ending to the season that we were hoping for, a close, high-scoring game that we were hoping for. I mean, if you took the over, you hit it, thanks to Georgia. But it ultimately, guys, was a very historic night, an unexpected night. But one where Georgia, once again, left no doubt who the best team in the country was, left no doubt who the national champion should be. And now we head into 2023. The 2023 season starts now. The offseason starts now. Let's get ready. Transfer portal still going on. Offseason predictions coming on. Coaching changes still going to be happening. We're going to start talking about potential three-peat for the Bulldogs. Can TCU get back? All the storylines are coming out. The way too early top 25s are coming out. So the season may have come to an end, but now the new season is starting right now. We'll have you covered every step of the way right here at the Gridiron Expert. So guys, thank you so much for watching this national championship recap. Not too much to recap, but a historic performance from the Georgia Bulldogs nonetheless, who again are your 2022-2023 college football national champions for the second year in a row. Thank you guys so much again for a fantastic season. We appreciate you and all of your support. As always, check out everything down in the description below. We have lots of exclusive content down there, not just for the remainder of this season, but going into 2023 as well. The content's not stopping. We're going to have nonstop videos all year long. So if you love college football, if you love football, this is the place for you all year long, because we're not going to leave you hanging. So make sure you go check it out. We have a lot of content coming out later this week. Do not miss it. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and thank you again for a phenomenal season. And we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.